Hey, what is up? Welcome back. Another Building Muster Minutes live stream. It's episode 43. And actually, I was just looking back at some of the last episodes, and I've realised we spent almost 10 episodes working on ProseMirror, the rich text editor. I'm glad we're kind of finished with that for now. That took far longer than it really should have. But I always find that, you know, rich text editors, they are a pain. Sometimes they just require, you know, like a week's worth of work just stuck into them deeply. A couple of these episodes were just chatting about, like, reading through the documentation, so it makes sense. But yeah, we finished off a couple of features that we were working on in that. That's the wrong account. That's our kind of airfield account that I use, so where I've been testing it. But yeah, if we go in, we can check transcription. We do have a little bug here that we need to probably tap back into at some point, where these ones that we need to decide what we're going to do with those words that aren't highlighted. Let's add that as a GitHub issue while I'm thinking about it. But otherwise, yeah, we've set this up. You can press play on here and it will skip to the right place. You can skip here. It auto scrolls, highlights the words, you know, all of those things that we were trying to do months ago, you know, we finally got to, and actually it works really nice, quite fluid. And you can go through here and go, actually, oh, that's not right, wasn't in there. You can go in here, you can change the text and all of those things. I want to log a couple of features that we need to build. So there's a bug here with when you refresh, it highlights text that actually hasn't got start time information. Just drop that in there. Decide how to handle manually entered text, and we can say something like, it certainly shouldn't be highlighted as the current word when the time of the track is at 0, 0. Which is what it currently does. I'll add that in there as a GitHub issue. I'm not going to try and solve it right now. I'm just going to log it. I'll come back to it. That's one issue. Another issue is we really need to be able to add additional speakers. And so feature, add ability to add additional speaker. Drop down. Again, we'll add this as a quick when selecting a speaker, you should you specify someone who isn't there yet. New speaker. I want to log that. I just can't log those feature requests in that we need to do. Plan for today really is to do a bit of a refactor. We're going to go through the code, we're going to review the code, we're going to see bugs, we're going to log stuff. So we're going to kind of go through the code, mostly logging stuff that we might want to take care of, sometimes taking care of stuff that we can take care of there and then, sometimes logging into GitHub as an issue to be resolved later. So that's going to be the plan. Bit of a dry throat there, I apologise. Okay. Those are the two that are kind of coming to me straight away. I have thought of a bug. You know? I think the best way of testing this bug is going to be finding perhaps one of these meetings that we did yesterday with QTPie. Yeah, it becomes more of an issue when there's free speakers and I can't add speakers yet. We are going to run into a bug. Let's just log what this bug is going to be. I don't know why, like, actually, like, let's change this. Label. New feature or request. It's an enhancement. We'll stick with the default labels for now. I guess that is kind of a bug, but it's minor, you know. This, I guess, is a question. Not help wanted. I kind of, maybe I do need to edit these labels to make them more relevant. Investigation. Or maybe like concern. I don't know, that'll do. Because this is a concern, you know. Fine, so that's the label sorted out. What we're going to do in here, we're going to log one that's just going to be around. One of the problems I think I've got is if I delete speaker in the middle. Speakers are organized. So here's the problem. Speakers are created by first calculating how many speakers there are in total. This creates a set of speaker IDs. They're not really IDs. 1 through starting number 1 through to the total number of speakers. Speaker 1, speaker 2, speaker 3. Has worked so far. There is a bug, you know. When you delete all the words, all the segments from speaker who isn't the last speaker, IDs would get reallocated. If we removed everything speaker 2 said, then speaker 2 would get replaced with speaker 3. Because they're always, the speaker IDs are always numerically ordered. This is actually a bit complicated, this element, this bug here, This is because the IDs are automatically generated from the total number of speakers. If we had a conversation of 4 speakers and we deleted everything speaker 2 said, it wouldn't remove speaker 2, it would remove speaker 4 from the list on the right hand side, and therefore the names that are associated would then shift. Because if we removed speaker 4, speaker 2 still exists and we just lost speaker 4's name. And therefore everything that we wouldn't adjust what was actually written, it would just adjust the names. No. Yeah. But that's confusing because yeah, there's something weird here. It needs further investigation. But this is a major bug. Or has the potential to be a major bug. So it's something I need to dig into at some point. I think the speaker IDs need to be potentially based on the original transcript, but then also how does that work? To consider what the process of adding a new speaker is. Speaker fix speaker ID generation. New generation. I think, yeah, if I go into like speaker at the moment in here or participant list, this here is where we create those speakers, and those IDs are just generated by taking in the total speakers. And then the speaker itself obviously can then reference the participant by finding that or creating. 21J, like down here, this section. This section here does the detect or the find by. That's something I'm going to have to clean up at some point. Fix speaker generation. That'll do. We'll dig into that later. Okay. What else is there? You go down here. Generally, I think otherwise everything mostly works. We need a way of changing the date. At the moment, we don't have a way of changing the date once you set the meeting. You create the meeting, you set a start time. But when you have a meeting, there's no way you can change the title, but there's no reference of the start time. So that's something we need to add in as a feature. Enhancement request, which is add ability to edit and see start time of meeting. Time is display afternoon, Josh. Afternoon, Bish. Hope you well. Start time is displayed on home page, dashboard, whatever we're calling that screen. What are we calling that screen, you know? Meetings list. Else, it's also not editable after initially created. I've made that concern. No, it's not a concern. It's a feature enhancement. Yeah, don't know what. What's on the agenda for today? We're doing a bit of a review today. Kind of refactoring in a few places, identifying issues. We're kind of cleaning things up a little bit. I realised I spent like 7 episodes or so on doing the transcription editor, and I need a break from ProseMirror, so... And actually I think we've done most of the features in there. There's a couple of things that I still need to tidy up. One of them is this. These words get highlighted because they don't actually have any timing information because they are words that I have manually entered in the editor. So that you can see anything I type there or hello world, like they will get highlighted because they don't have any time information. So I need to decide how I handle that at some point, but I've logged that as a GitHub issue. Decide how to handle manually entered text in the transcript, I should probably say. Edit that. So yeah, I need to decide on what I'm going to do with that. And then otherwise I'm just kind of reviewing. I've been thinking about a bug that potentially occurs that I do need to do some testing on, which is the list of speakers on the right hand side. If I deleted everything Jasmine said, Jasmine would remain, Julian would get chopped off, and I actually don't know what the results of that would be. So that's a bug that I need to investigate, but again, logged it in. And otherwise I'm just going to be refactoring stuff and looking at the code. I think there's some stuff I've got in here that isn't used anymore. I think I'll probably delete. So I want to delete a bunch of code today. And also, how are you? I'm good, thank you. I hope you're well too. How are things? So I'm going to... I think the best way of doing this is probably first to look at my models in the code base. Maybe just step through them one by one and just see what files I've got and what they're doing. Because I'm sure there's some stuff I can delete. I know in the transcription folder for sure there's some stuff I can delete that I'm not using. Concerns, we've got account scoped. We'll format that, tidy up the white space that's just hanging out there. Otherwise, account scoped I think is fine. The only place we use this, I think, is on the meeting. And then we also have the active job extension in here that is applied to application job and also to active storage analyze job. this active job extension makes sure that the current account is kind of passed when we're doing background jobs for people. So when we're processing and building transcriptions and stuff, that current account gets passed down. I think that works quite nice. Happy with that. Going well, thanks. Just eating some lunch. Some spiced fish from Tanya's mum. Sounds good. I'm not really a fish person, I'll be honest. It's very rare that I'm in the mood for fish. Like tuna and prawns and stuff like that. And actually even a paella as well. Like, I don't know, like natural fish. I'm not sure. I think I was put off when I was younger, like bones and stuff in fish. I was just like, eh. Similar level to Ella, or just not a fan in general? Yeah, I don't think. I don't know how to. Yeah, I don't know what level Ella's at on the fish front. Happy with that. Sounds exactly like Ella with the bones. Yeah, it's the bones. I think it's just. I know not all fish have the tiny bones, but it's been a while. I just avoid fish now. It's been a while since I've had fish. I probably would like fish if I had it, but the problem is like ordering something that you're pretty sure you won't like is difficult, you know? So we have our checkoutable concern. Where are we using this? How does this get used? This is used in the recording. This adds a few methods, such as create or find checkout session. This is all managing our checkout process. Kind of happy with how that works at the moment. I still don't particularly. Let's do this. Let's add a little note to the side. We can maybe go nvim notes.md or something. I don't know. Checkoutable concern. Review notes. Models and concerns. I get it. Usually anything like that, I get Tanya to order, try some of hers. Yeah, that's usually the best way of doing it, like stealing other people's food, or sharing food, not necessarily stealing other people's food, but if you have the opportunity to share food with people, then you get to try different things. I mean, the only reason I had the paella is because it was like at a previous work thing, I think. Or maybe it was on holiday. I don't know. There would have been one of the times, one of those two times. I was like, actually really like this. About it being applied to the recording. I need to get better at moving around with Tmux. Yeah, otherwise I think this checkoutable concern is pretty good. Really the core of it is the thing that is checkoutable has a checkout session stored in checkout session ID. We can grab that with Stripe and then we can work out the status of that to work out whether the status is kind of complete or open expired, whatever. And then there is a way of creating or finding a checkout session which will return the checkout session that either is newly created or found. Return checkout session if has open checkout session. Raise checkout complete if the checkout is complete. And then there is the actual checkout session that gets created. And then the ID gets persisted. Yeah. So I think that is actually quite nice. And I can apply that to anything that I want to be able to check out. So that's cool. And then the other thing was the public ID generator, which we kind of took from Planet Scale, which, yeah, some drama about that recently. About Planet Scale, not about the public ID generator. That was a thing that they published online, free to use. So anyway, minutes generator. So this is the thing that actually generates our minutes. I've got some work to do here, so it's a bit of a mess right now. This is the prompt that actually gets fed into ChatGPT. So it tells the AI about kind of what it needs to do, when the meeting was, how long it lasted, and what the content of the agenda was. And then it initializes a chat where the user sends the kind of transcript. So the system message has the agenda content, and then the user replies with the transcript of the conversation. And then in return, it runs this procedure, which digs out each piece of new content, adds it into content, and then broadcasts. And then at the end, it updates content in the database. So I'm also happy with that. I'm kind of not too concerned with that. Transcript document. Okay, so this is the thing we recently built. Transcript document. Feels like the naming is heading in the right direction. Not sure that implementation is really following kind of object orientated principles. It's kind of doing the job right now, but I feel like there's a better solution that I can come up with at some point. But let's tidy up things before we jump into that. I've kind of noted I'm not really completely happy with the implementation here. I think one of the reasons is around how I think there may be a better, more robust solution that handles multiple different formats and kind of import export between those formats, you know. AWS turns their JSON formatted transcription import into muster minutes format, export into BTT or SRT and other formats. Like there's a transcription format pipeline set of things, and I feel like there's a nicer solution here at some point for dealing with those. We have transcription entry. Transcription entry is dead. We can delete transcription entry. I don't think we have. If you go in here and go beekeeper, I really need to sort my database out. There's just a load of junk in here that I'm not using. But anyway, we have in here transcription entries, of which there are a few. We've not created any this year. Transcription utterances, again, there's a few, but we've not created any this year because at a certain point we stopped doing that. So entry should go. And I think since we're here anyway, we can just delete this stuff. Rails DBG migration, remove or delete. Entry. And before we do that, let's just see what else there is. So there's entry, which we can remove. Generator is used at the moment. Parser. Is transcription parser used? Yeah. So that, again, this is what I mean about the formats. This is kind of an export to TXT format. Transcription parser is really used to generate a TXT format of the transcription. So I need to have a think about the data model here for these things. Parser result. Is this used? No. The kill list. Transcription result. Transcription entry. And then transcription utterance as well. Those are on the list to kill. Oh, place PWS. Utterance, is that used in a few places? It is. In result, which we're going to kill. In utterance, which we're going to kill. In entry, which we're going to kill. And then there's a spec for them as well. So they can go. We're going to destroy the utterance, the result, and the entry, which will leave us the document, the generator, and the parser, which kind of makes sense because there's three core parts of transcription. There is converting it from the AWS format into R format. Or actually create, the generator, which kicks off the job for AWS. The document, which is passing it back into our format that we're going to expect to be using with our editor. And then there is the parser, which is really exporting it to a TXT format. And those are the three kind of models we've got there. And they need better names and they need better implementations, but those are the kind of core three functionalities. Cool. That's transcription. Account, simple, we don't really use account, it just is there. it actually has the payment information on it, pay customer, and it can have many users, but at the moment the way we've set it up is every account just has one user. When you create an account for sign up, you have an account as well. This is really here to future-proof in case at some point I want to allow multiple users to come together on the same account and access each other's files. That does that. Agenda item. Again, going through stuff, I'll code format according to any of the default rules that it's got. Agenda item belongs to a meeting. Belongs to a parent item. Has many agenda items. Acts as a list. Has to have a title. Has some validations. I'm quite happy with those. Cool. And then the next one. Location record. Nothing in there. Current. Oh, that's about current. Current is fine. Again, not much in there. The meeting itself. Public ID. That's a public ID. It's account scope. And it's discardable. I wonder if I should just join these all together into one. Does the same thing. It has a recording, has a transcription, has many participants, has many agenda items, has many minutes, all of which gets destroyed as a result of destroying the meeting. It validates start at exist. It has to have a start time. The nested attributes the recording, so you can create the meeting with the recording, and then it broadcasts refreshes as well. Param. Public ID, that allows public ID generator to work. I do wonder if that should just be part of public ID. Like, why not just have this as public ID and have it also set this to param? Let's do that then. Let's add a little note there. Public ID generator could be renamed to just public ID. Publicly I think publicly identifiable would make more sense. It would then also set the to param method to public ID. Yep. That's one of the things that I could do. It would just tidy some of this up. It would remove this from here. It doesn't make sense here. I think if this just said include publicly identifiable up there, you'd know that it's going to be doing this to param thing for you. Agenda content. That's a bit of a smell. Threw that in quite quickly. I don't know actually. I mean, the generate agenda items bit down here is a smell. it might make more sense to just say has one agenda, or just hasn't, like have agenda. Extract agenda class out of meeting. Like this would make more sense if you did like meeting.agenda. The meeting would have the agenda items, and agenda would just be a... I mean, maybe even as a concern, agenderable. Could be a concern. And that would abstract some of that away. Just simplify the meeting. Well, I'm kind of happy with that. That would be good. Minutes. We have the record identifier. We'll add a new line there because we kind of have that everywhere else. We'll also format and tidy up some of those things. So what have we got going on here? This is because we're using the DOM ID. I don't really like how I have to add this action view record identifier because into the models as well. Like the models really shouldn't be aware necessarily of the view. In a few places we include active view record identifier, but this to be able to use DOM ID to target in Turbo Broadcast. Cosmo, who goes use public ID? What? No. I was like, oh yeah, I'll just use ChatGPT. It is a bit of a code smell, you know. I don't think you should use public ID because it makes no sense. Need to think of a better way to handle this. You know, that makes more sense rather than public ID. Right. Yeah, because that's a bit But the minutes belong to a meeting. When you create, it generates the minutes. And these are kind of rules, right? I wonder if there's a better way of kind of writing up the rules. But otherwise, I think they're kind of okay. Makes sense. Participant. Participant is the thing that's actually stored. It's what stores the speaker's name, information like that. It has the speaker ID and the meeting. And this is why the speaker ID shouldn't change and shift around, because they're actually persisted in the database. So effectively, speaker 2 can become removed, but still exist. Okay, fine. And then meeting gets passed down to that. That's fine. That's participant list. It works, but it's we initialize it with the meeting. It renders, so we use this really to render the participant list. But then there's a bunch of data that we need to get out of that list, like total speakers and the... Is that speaker count? I guess it is. And then, yeah, it's got default of 1. Yes. Other speakers, meeting participants. Remove people who are the speakers who have a participant, and then select all the ones that are persisted. And then the total unidentified is all the speakers where persisted. This line here is really the line that's causing that bug, which I've already looked and documented anyway, so we'll come back here because I think that'll get cleaned up then. Recording, let's format the code in here. This is the thing that is checkoutable. That means it has checkout line items. I actually quite like how that ended up. The only thing that I might say would be better is if I could do it like checkout double line items, because then I could maybe just do it in there rather than have this weird kind of private def that you're not really sure what the deal is with that. But I think it's fine. The cost is then used by that as well, so that works out quite nice. This is a bit of a smell. Where is that used? In order for the generation, the generator to work. What about this? Is that the same? Oh, that's random. That is. That is too generic. My search. Recording.bucket, yeah. Yeah. So the only place that's really used is again here. I wonder if the two places these are used, right? The only places they're used is in the generator. They should be in the generator. Because really I can just do recording.file and recording.file.key. That could just be bucket.name, and then the S3 URL can just be those. And in fact, arguably at this point, it's like, well, why even have those? $19J. Yank 19K. Just do that. And the same for the S3 URL, you know, 16K. Paste. Delete 7J. This reminds me, there's an app someone made in-house for us to help people with simple IT queries, cleaning out caches, but there were some functions that were just no longer needed, so someone else just deleted out bits they didn't need and the whole app broke and didn't realize how much was intertwined. Yep. Yeah, that can happen. Spaghetti code. Yeah, I mean, this is one of the areas where stuff is a little bit more intertwined. Like, I've really coupled up my implementation to using AWS and ultimately S3 as the storage engine for the files. Because I'm using AWS for both the storing of the files and for the transcribe, it actually makes it a little bit easier. I have less code to write because I don't have to pass the data. Transcribe, I can just say, hey, it's over in that bucket, you have access to that bucket, go get it. But if I wanted to use a different transcription service at some point, that wouldn't be very fun at the moment. The code's very tightly coupled, and again here you can kind of see that it's assuming that active storage is going to be using this service refers to S3, but we're kind of making an assumption, because if it wasn't S3, if it was a plain, like if we were just using a file system storage service, local service, there wouldn't be a concept of a bucket, and that bucket wouldn't have a name because it doesn't exist. And the S3 colon here, like that, again, if it was a local service, it just wouldn't, it would crash. It doesn't work unless you have an S3 backed storage medium. And so it works, but again, you wouldn't know that without necessarily digging into the code. So it's one of those smells that I need to tidy up at some point. Probably not a major issue unless I start considering not using AWS for transcribing. But it makes sense more to have this code here in the generator than it does back here in the recording, because really the fact that this recording doesn't care about the fact that the generator has to use S3. So I'm more comfortable with that smell being in the over here than here, you know. The fact that this needs a bucket name, it can get the bucket name. It just requires a little bit more typing. So recording.file.blob.service.bucket.name. And again, this is assuming service is S3. It might not be if the app was configured in a different way. That's just a shortcut. So the recording has a duration. Cost is calculated based on the duration. I'm happy with how recording looks, actually. It's not too complicated. Does this need a dependent destroy? Active storage has attached. It has attached what? Has one attached? Has one attached. Does it have a... I might even just say the services S3 in here. Just to make it very clear that, hey, this is going to be S3. You know? There's no dependent destroy. I'm assuming it just does that by default. Okay, belongs to a meeting. It will touch the meeting as the recording is updated. It has an attached file, which is part of the recording. That's stored in S3. It has transcription, which is dependent. When the recording is deleted, the transcription gets deleted. And it has duration and cost, private. Yes, nice. I'm happy with that. That was the recording recovery code. Again, part of the auth logic. Don't need to worry too much about that. Funny thing is though, the guy that built the original app still works for the company, but under a different department now. So if they wanted to have a temp contract for him to update the app, he could do it. But as always, company wants to save money and said no. Yeah, it sounds about right. It sounds about right. Yeah, I feel like in-house software just never gets the care and love that it really needs. Maybe by the person building it at the time, but it never gets the funding to actually take it any further. Okay, so we have our post hoc, happy with session simple. Transcription. Oh dear, there's a lot going on here. So what do we got? We got recording, which we'll touch. We've got our meeting, through our recording. We have our entries, which we're going to get rid of. That will, we'll delete them later when we actually delete the entries. We have our enum status, which I think there's a better way of doing this campfire. J, Control X, campfire. They use something in, is it channels? Or message? They have an enum somewhere. PWS or PVS. It's enum. This one. So I really like this like %w implementation .index by itself. So I think I'm going to do that. We'll just do that, and then we'll do %w pending dispatch dot index by and itself. Which actually, like, when you look at it, it's a lot less text. So, happy with that. That's a nice tidy up. That will go. Then we have this generatable. After create commit, it will start generating. If it's generatable, a start. Tell the generator to start the job. Generator. Start job. Interestingly, like, this isn't using active job to do this. I guess it doesn't need to, because, like, why go through all of that? But because it says it's generating it, I don't know, I feel like the language around transcription generator is misleading, because it doesn't actually generate anything, it just kicks off the job to generate via AWS transcribe. So I'm like, it's a bit weird. There is a big chunk of code here to do it. Like, it's not something that I could just stick into the other place. You can just stick it here. But yeah. Past data is, I mean, that's a smell. What is going on there? Transcription. Past data feels a bit weird. Need to tidy up how we handle JSON processing. Token count is, again, we're kind of relying on the parser to then turn it to text, and then we're using that as a rough token count. I mean, I'm only really using this. Where am I using this right now? Transcript.token count. I'm using it to show it, but it's not really something I intend to actually show. And then I'm using it in here where I could just easily, you know, parse it. It's also misleading because it does a lot of work to get to that point. It has to actually generate a TXT version of the thing. We've got speakers, which creates a new participant list and then takes the speakers and then maps them. Again, this is a view concern, I believe. It's a view concern, but it's also something that I use in in the turbo stream. And actually, that is still a view. That could be a view helper. Okay, I think I'm going to take this out of there. And we're going to create a speakers helper Derby. Module speakers helper. We'll add that in there. Where is this used? This is used in the underscore form transcription. It's not even used there anymore. It's used in like the show transcription. Speakers value. Speaker details. Speaker list for the meeting. I think that makes sense. And then we go show transcription. And then the other place is the turbo stream here. And in here, I can just do speaker list at meeting. Speaker list takes the meeting, returns the array. I feel the same with the token count, you know, but again, the one place it's actually used is actually in the minutes down here. Transcription parser. Token count. Transcript is in within limits. I'm going to move it to here, but I think that makes more sense there. You assume the worst, but that is yet to come, because he caused it first, and now we've come undone. Caught up in trying to find a problem. Why do we lose our minds, sending us before we try? Delete to... Oh, there we go. And then the only bit here is like the transcript. Can I not just do has one recording through meeting, has one transcript through the recording? Or would it be better to just delegate transcript to meeting? Because that's kind of what I'm doing anyway, right? And that means I don't need to do that. Recording. And then this can also be gone. The duration is the recording duration. I guess I could also delegate duration to recording. And then, hey, thank you for the follow. Better on mute. I don't know where that was. That was a bit Canadian. I don't know. Better on mute. Yeah, thank you for the follow. So then we have this section here is now going to take the token estimate. So we have a token limit per minute, and then this function that was a lot longer before now is actually only 4 lines. I think we can condense this down even more. We can just say errors add, delete the end of the line. Nice. We'll add this error if the token estimate is more than the token limit. Otherwise, we'll do nothing. Token estimate is worked out down here. It takes out that part. It probably makes sense at some point to move the actual... We could get a token estimate for the actual request. Transcript token estimate. I think it has to be something like that. I think we'll also do if meeting.minutes.count more than 0, like that. Yeah, I'm happy with that. That looks cleaner, and it moves away a bunch of stuff that was in transcript as well, because I can now delete that. Class data is still a bit weird. Don't like it. This also a bit weird. But fine, we might come back to it. We're just doing a quick pass. User is a bit chaotic. I wonder whether it's worth moving some of these into concerns. But also I'm kind of like, you know.
The moonlight, checking your physique. I don't think I could want you anymore. Chilling with your girl, I'm jealous that I can't just run over and take you on the floor. And I don't wanna cross nobody. I know it's never worth the pain, but I can feel your eyes run down me, and all my sense just floats away.
The user model could be divided up into several concerns. It's a bit of a pain to have to look at. I'm like, what's going on? You know? I feel like a chunk of that probably come down, and then like, does that actually help and everything? It means you come into the file, look at the top and go, oh, okay, the user has a password, it belongs to an account, has many sessions, has some recovery codes, has a token for email verification, has a token for password reset, validates stuff and normalizes stuff, you know. And then there's some fallbacks down here that do some stuff. I feel like that order makes more sense to me, so I'm going to do that change. And then that's it for models. What have we got controller-wise? A good chunk. How are we looking so far? I'm staged. Mm-hmm. Does it all still work? No idea. Well, this won't. This will crash. Because I removed the token count from the thing. Cannot configure S3. Okay. Interesting. But what is it called? Storage. Amazon. Why is it called Amazon rather than just S3? Okay, if you say so. We'll find this in the recording model. Amazon. Yep, and then token count. Space U. PF. No, it's not PF. PG. Token. These are the two places. I'm just going to remove them from it, to be honest. Status isn't coming through. And I did do this, but I have this thing where before they were all uppercase. Not that. I want the indexed values to be uppercase while these lowercase. But I don't want to manually do the hash. I'd rather just index by at downcase. Transform value. I mean, index by itself is already going to do it, so I just need to upcase the values. Which, you know, we kind of lose some of the value in it being so succinct, but you can kind of ignore the bit at the end. You can just read these. It's easier to just read the list like that. So, fine. That still works. Right. I feel like tidy up what we've got so far with the models to some degree. At least delete the things we don't need or want anymore. Do I need to figure out first though if those are controllers? Maybe I do need to review controllers. Not those controllers. These controllers. You know? Okay. So maybe we should switch to controllers. Concerns? Meeting scoped. That's simple. I'm happy with meeting scoped. Turbo streams redirect. We'll format it, but otherwise, I'm happy with this. This is kind of really something that I think should be built into the platform. But it's what allows us to, when we send redirect, allows us to set a turbo action, turbo frame. Nice. Identity, these aren't really our controllers. They were created by the Auth0 or Authentication 0, whatever it is that library we used to set up the authentication logic. So I'm kind of happy with those. I'm not really going to go into them too much right now. We have our meta controller. Again, that's lightweight, simple. Crash controller. Again, lightweight and simple. Back to auth. Again, I'm not going to go into those ones. Admin controller, we set that up yesterday. I'm kind of okay with it. Agenda items. Yep. Application controller. Yep. Application controllers logic could be broken down into separate concerns. There's a bunch of stuff going on here. Needs tidying up. Like local only. That can be moved into a concern. And stuff like the authentication, I suppose, could all be kind of wrapped into a concern here. Authenticated. Home controller. Again, simple. Meetings controller. We'll format because we've had some stuff there that wasn't formatted how we'd expect it. Minutes controller. Again, format. Orders controller. Fine, happy with that. Passwords, yes. We have passwords. Holdings. Kind of just skimming through these. Controllers generally want to be really lightweight anyway. And these all seem to pass that criteria. I should consider moving this into a thing. Might do that. I was thinking then about like, I'm trying to work out there's a way of yanking into a specific register. But anyway, getting sidetracked there. We'll yank this. We'll go find the transcription views. And in here we'll create one that is, what are we even doing this for? Part of the update. So there'll be an update.turbostream.erb file, which we can paste in that. And then if we go back to our transcription controller, the idea here is I should be able to delete all of these. And it should have. Julian should disappear. Render purple green. Not sure why all the spaces are getting highlighted down here. Let's do network. Let's clear that out. Let's just see what we get back. Oh. Quest submit is not a function. Oh, that's no fun. What do I mean? Oh, of course, because form is no longer. We moved this in the last couple of commits. The transcript editor, which I believe is still on space 1 and stuff. When we do the save, it's now not on here, it's now there. If I take none of this, if I took an input like this, right, and then did $0.form, yeah. So I should be able to, instead of doing this element request submit, what I could do instead is do input target.form request. And then we will go down to the bottom somewhere. Cool. And so this is the bit that I was looking at here. Again, I need to check something here with like Command Z and the spaces. The spaces don't have word marks and then they get highlighted. That's a bit weird. Anyway, that fixes that bug, and also it checks that the transcription controller update is applying the turbo stream update this. Update the participants with a partial participants list, the locals participant list with a new meeting. Nice. That works. Then we'll go back to transcription controller. That tidies that up a little bit. That's a transcriptions controller. Transcriptions webhook controller inherits from the SNS notification controller, which then has a handle notification for notification, which updates the recording. This is a bit at the moment. I really need to do some work to... This works at the moment. Just, I think there is a better way of doing this rather than relying on S3. And then also this actual code of like pulling in the file and updating it could probably be done as a different thing, maybe. And then finally there's just the welcome controller, which is just the logged out view. You skip authentication on the welcome controller. I wonder it'd be better if to have like a pages controller, and then that deals with home as well, because home controller is not going to have anything else. Yeah, otherwise that all looks fine. Yeah. Jobs, we only have the one, which is the generate minutes, which calls the minutes generator. Channels, we don't have any channels apart from turbo stream stuff. Views. I don't think I'm going to get into views just yet. I think I'm going to keep out views and maybe we just start working on deleting some of the models. Specifically like this stuff. Now, Rails active record delete model. Like, is there something around? I guess I need a migration, right? Rails destroy model. Drop. Is Rails destroy actually a thing? Destroy? Okay. Yeah, figure out what Dynamite did and then do it. I mean, let's give it a go. Let's, before we start doing that, let's, you know, admit what we have changed with all of these. Because there's a lot of stuff that we changed which were just minor, inconsequential styling changes. There's a couple of consequential changes in here as well, and a couple of bug fixes as well. But let's commit these and just say refactor, general refactor, and code format. Okay. And we can push that up. And then we can, now we have a clean working directory. We'll do Rails D model transcription entry. So this is interesting because it just, but I still have that in my database. But it wouldn't get created for anyone creating a new project. But it's still in my server's database. So like, it's not, I almost expected it to create the migration to destroy it. I mean, yeah, sure, okay, fine, it's deleted the things it needed to delete, but the fact it deletes the migration that created it is somewhat confusing. We'll undo it, we'll restore everything. I think that's useful if I just created it, but I haven't just created it, and therefore I should probably drop thing first. OSG migration, drop transcription, entry. Entries were this whole like thing that's like entry and utterance. Migration, drop. Drop. I guess it's just going to be drop, right? Careful, your migration will not be reversible. For this, you'll need to add something like drop table transcription entries. Is that correct? As in, is it just transcription? Yeah, transcription has got entries and transcription utterances. So we're removing these two from our database, essentially. Table, transcription, utterances. Those two will go. There's DB migrate. Let's just see. Can I see what changed there? The date. It deletes those two things, and it also deletes the entries column key. Cool. And then I guess I could do Rails D model transcription entries. Rails D model transcription entry. Rails D model transcription utterance as well. We'll delete both of those. And then in here we'll have deleted this and this. I want to restore those. Store. What is it? Git restore DB migrate. I don't want to delete things that are in the migration. But I can delete transcription entry, transcription utterance. Was there something else as well? We said about deleting the transcription thingamabob. Really help if I look at transcription result. I thought I wrote this down. I either wrote it down and I can't see it because I'm being blind, or I didn't write it down. Oh yeah, there's the kill list. Entry, utterance, and result. this as well, but this is just a model. So. Okay, and then I think the only place entries. That's fine, those are fine. That's fine, that's fine. Oh, these are the views. I don't believe these are used. Oh yeah, because I have to go in and manually delete each one of these. Okay. Entry. Entry. Yeah, that's the bit that's gone. And then result. And yeah, I think that's it. That's probably all the areas where we have those things. I suppose PF I should just do utterance as well. And entry. And result. Yep. CC, we will burn. Fire. Remove. Transcription. Entry. Transcription. That's it. Entries. We'll just do remove transcription, entries, utterances, and result models. These were no longer being used in the current system. I mean, I suppose before we commit this, we really should just test that the pages work, you know. Yeah, I mean the cool thing is that this renders, and this doesn't use any of that code because it's gone. I'll push that. The kill list can go. Public ID generator. I think I'm going to change this to be publicly identifiable. That's also a bit confusing. I think maybe just public ID. Public ID module. Meeting. Delete to the comma. And then I think this 2 param.
For some trouble, you were looking alright. Every time you said a word, I was staring at your lips. I don't think I've ever
I see, that's interesting because actually are there views that use the user? I suppose not. I don't have a user rendered, right? So, which is 2 param is for when you link to a user, and you'd still want it in that case as well. You wouldn't want to be able to link to the user and not have the 2 param there. So yeah, I guess that all still works as expected. And it tidies that up. Okay. What we'll do is we'll go and let's commit that. Refactor, update, public ID concern. Dealt with that. This agenda content, where is that used? Just there, but it does feel like a big concern of its own, so I guess we're rendering the agenda as well though. Like, could I just use a view? This is effectively like that, right? Text plain. Rails view render text plain, like ERB. That's ChatGPT. ChatGPT is usually pretty good at some of the stuff. Rails, rendering. Can I render plain text with ERB? Yeah, I want an ERB template. Is it just... render to string, just is that even a thing? Because I feel like that's the sort of thing that probably just doesn't exist. It does exist. Render to string. So, I guess what I'm thinking here is that this is really just rendering plain text. You know? And it is calling itself. But it'd be nice if I could like have a partial, which was like agenda item, and it would just render the txt. Can I just have it just recognize the format and render it? Because if I go here, go .text, index is missing a template for this request format and variant. I mean, let's just try it, right? Let's go agenda item view. Essentially what we're saying is we want index.txt.erb. Hello. Quitted that. Okay, that doesn't do it right. Stop text. Okay, that's good to know. So I could, in theory, just say what's going on down here? The index HTML. Let's say we just want to render is it agenda item controller? Agenda items? Agenda items? I'll just do that. and then agenda items. I mean, I expected that to agenda collection. Yeah, so I should be able to just do that. And then agenda item text.erb item. There is nothing in my document. Are there any agenda items for this meeting? No. So what am I expecting to see? Agenda items. I need a meeting that has agenda items. This one? Damn it. Cool. And I'm assuming if I didn't have the agenda item.txt there, let's just delete it. I don't know why I'm writing to that. Yeah, it's now looking for the txt format of that file, which is what it should be doing. Agenda item.text.erb. Cool. And that brings it back. Now, agenda item controller. No, agenda. Actually, we put this in meeting, didn't we? I think. Render agenda item dot items dot agenda items. Also, it's not dash, it'll be like one dot, but I think there's index or counter variables. Rails also makes a counter variable available within a partial called by the collection. The variable is named after the title underscore counter. There should be an agenda item counter. We should be able to go agenda item counter. Maybe we'll just delete that line for now and then refresh. Okay, it needs to be +1, right? Okay, that gets us there. And then the next part of this is rendering the sub-agenda items. It should be a case of just going render item dot agenda items. But the problem here is we'll have like a something looks a bit like that. I guess we can also dash there to trim that down. Spacer templates. And I wonder if I should add a local, which is just like parent counter 0. Because then I could add locals. So I need to actually pass the whole partial agenda item. Partial agenda underscore item collection agenda item. That's getting a bit long for me now, to be honest. So let's break this down into multiple lines. Works again. And then I guess what I'm doing here as well is I want to try and do some variables where we'll just do agenda index. And then, well, let's just do parent counter dot yeah, and then if it's 0, if parent counter more than 0. Parent counter dot okay. And then that renders to plain text. That's effectively what we was recreating in the meeting here. We were passing a prefix, right? I guess I could tidy that up in a similar way, actually. This could be... So the parent counter, that could just be prefix. And we could just make an empty string. I could call it item prefix. Or even a gender item prefix. That's nice. And then this would be index and a dot, right? And then that simplifies all of this down because I don't need if statement anymore. Oh, that is beautiful. Agenda, item, prefix. Same result, no if statement. Yeah, further being in line there just to separate the kind of section at the top which creates the variables and defines the inputs to the actual content. The problem there is it result in an empty space. Doesn't look like it. Nice. Actually, that's less code as well, I think, than the other one. And then... yeah, I'm just rendering the agenda items. Okay. Now, can I actually use it? Like, render... to string. Rails, render to string. I don't like that. Okay. Now I want to be able to render that somewhere, like in a model. How can I render a template from within a model? My model needs to render the template to pass it to GPT. Template renders text. Yes, I'm slightly bending the principle of separation of concerns, you know. I don't do services. Everything's a model, you know. I mean, this does look like there's a chunk of stuff that I'm gonna have to do. What do I need to pass to it? It's agenda items controller. I set a agenda items variable that is used by my controller, not my controller, my view template. Sorry. Assigns. Maybe we just do Rails C. Let's see if we can actually prototype this out a little bit here. Action controller base, new, render to string. Well, what are we rendering? We're rendering the agenda items index template, right? Assigns, what are we assigning here? Well, we're going to have the agenda items be set to a meeting.unscope.find by public ID dot agenda items dot where parent ID is nil. Argument passed to URL4 can't be handled. Well, I'm guessing that's because I don't want to use URL4. I have to pass formats. Formats. Text. PG undefined column. Parent ID doesn't exist. No, it doesn't. What is it? Gender. Oh. Is that default scope? Parent item ID. It's because it's in the other place. Anyway, it's parent item ID. Parent item ID. It's going to be singular, isn't it? Agenda underscore item. Is it? No, maybe it is items. What does this error say? Missing partial, action controller, agenda items, agenda item. Because the controller name doesn't match. So what if I... We're doing weird crap. What if I call the controller? You know? What if I call agenda items controller? Yeah, it works. That's a bit gross. I feel like it makes a lot of sense to use like the rendering engine to render text. I'm working on a project in Ruby on Rails. As part of this project, I need to generate text versions of models, like an agenda item. Versions of views like gender items index and transcription show, and in these text plain text format views passed to a third-party service. I could build these text views manually in our models, but it feels like it makes sense to leverage the Rails rendering engine for these text views. Since Rails supports plain text rendering format with ERB. How should our just go with that, see what it says. It is a sensible approach. I agree. Thank you for the... Yes, that is what I've done. Yes. I mean, I don't need to do that. I can just do that itself. But the part that is now challenging background job is kind of a model, right? So like, I don't need processing library, ChatGPT, what are you doing? Focus on the job at hand, don't start, you know. Yeah. So invoke the renderer from within a job.
Watch my life pass me by, never knowing where I belong in a
I guess what's different here is it uses the view context. So renderer is that, right? We get a renderer. And then view. Yeah, renderer dot render template agenda items index assigns agenda. I mean that's the other part of this that I really should have just stored that somewhere easier. But hey, is that? Okay. Layout, pulse, or just even, I suppose if I just said the formats, text. So the problem is here is we're back to, now it's looking for application / agenda item. Now the partials for that template are put in the wrong place. Oh, I see. I could do it in there. I kind of don't want to have to change that. That is also gross. What? And I suppose this will be agenda underscore items. Doesn't exist. Perhaps I could just pass it the error. It renders my template, but my template tries to render a partial, and now it's looking for it in the wrong place. A renderer from my agenda items controller. That would probably work. Like the agenda items controller renderer. Like if I went here, agenda items. Oh. Renderer equals gender items controller dot renderer dot new, and then that works. Oh, I could also just do a gender items controller render. It feels smelly, but it works, and I just feel like it's better than the alternative right now, which is kind of reconstructing the text. And I also have to do this for the other thing as well, which is the transcript. Oh, the transcript's actually got a whole class that we can destroy, because really it's building a view.
I can go anywhere, walk the desert in the sun, lost and I don't care. I'm feeling lighter, lighter, at the finish line.
Agenda content.
Can't cheat me now. Like a satellite, I'm so far away, can't get me back. You wanna take it in my mind, cloak and daggers, snakes and ladders. Thinking of the reason why.
Renderer equals agenda items controller dot render new. Render dot render.
How does it feel to fall now that you're in this alone? No more comfort, 'cause those days are over now. I've seen that side.
Just do.
Can't believe I let you wear me down. All the memories unwind, taking me higher, higher, past the finish line. You can't cheat me now. Can't get me back.
It's cleaner. If I did meeting find but unscoped but find by public ID dot agenda content gets you the agenda content. Okay, it's not the most gracious query.
Snakes and ladders.
Reload didn't seem to do anything there. Do I have to set it here? No. AWS. Where was this used? This was used in the minutes generator. I think this now moves to the minutes generator. Minutes generator. Private. Where am I? At minutes.meeting.agenda. Stop where? Oh, delete 2 dot. Delete 1 dot. I don't know what. Obviously that doesn't change. That's still what it was. Guess I should do a quick test to see whether I can still generate meeting minutes. This on the thing, go all the way down to the bottom, create minutes. Dead. Undefined method transcript for meeting B. What is this? Around line 1. Is this because I tried to do minutes? I tried to delegate or something. That? No. I'll click create minutes and define method transcript. Or meeting. Oh. This transcription. And then yes, this should be transcription, and then go to refresh again. Scroll all the way to the bottom. Create. Fingers crossed. Progress. Oh, no, it's doing it. It's doing it. Just a moment. And it looks like. Yes. Sweet. That worked. Pretty nice, actually. Actually, I think I'm tempted to do the same now for the parser. As I said, But for the parser, at the moment the parser really is just trying to render stuff. But it's a bit confusing as to what it looks like. But if I just create a view, a text view of the transcript, because this is currently called by our transcription controller here, but I could just return text the same way I return JSON. Yeah, nice. Cool, I'm gonna commit those. So the meeting, removed all of that. The minutes, delegation, because there was a bug that I created. That's transcription. The generator now just uses the agenda items controller to render what it needs. The now views for rendering out text, which means actually you can also just go to here and just get text versions of all of these things if you desire. Makes exporting really nice. We'll commit that and then we'll do feature, not even feature, refactor, isn't it? Leverage Rails renderer for text, generating plain text views for GPT. The input. To send prompt, send data to ChatGPT, we need plain text versions of things rather than building custom renderers to transform data. We can leverage all tools built into Rails for rendering views. Use the controller's renderer to render them. Cool. It means our parser here is the next target. We're going to get that wiped out. Extract the agenda class / concern out of meeting. I mean, we did it without creating a class. Meeting looks nice now. Meeting is really simple. Did that. And we have a new solution for this, which is Rails renderer to render text version of transcript. You know, maybe that's even how we do like VTT and stuff like that. We'll see, but effectively we're just saying, okay, transcript, the output can be JSON, HTML, TXT, maybe the other formats could just be built with the renderer, you know. That's an interesting one. Generator is also a bit misleading still. Past data is also a bit weird. I think we're getting there. This one's going to be interesting, but I think with our output, we've probably got an interesting direction to go in. But I'm actually going to call it there, I think, today. I have some things to do. Also coming up on the 3-hour mark as well, so we're about 46 minutes stream today. Not quite 3 hours, but you know, getting there. I don't think I'm going to be able to stream tomorrow. I think I've got some meetings and stuff that I've got to attend in the morning. I think they're going to last all day, so we'll, yeah, probably not be on tomorrow, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I can make a short session at the end of the day. We'll see. If not, Monday. Monday is the goal. I'll be back Monday for sure, and we will, I think Monday we will target this, or next stream, whenever that's going to be, we're going to target this transcription parser and remove that. It'd be quite good actually just to see what we've done today, because I think I've done several commits today. Can I do... Is there a way of doing like diff? Or it's compare master, or the other way around. I always forget which way around it is. Also, it's not master, it's called main. Cool, so what did we do today? We changed 33 files, added 85 and deleted 196 lines of code. Just out of curiosity, got rid of 111 lines of code. A bunch we just changed, so I think the big deletions are coming. I mean, it's cool to delete. I mean, those weren't huge files, but they were just not doing it. Yeah, nice. Cool, cool, cool. This is in progress. That's finished. 999 jobs. I'm happy with this. I think we'll have maybe a JSON, like we could do JSON, TXT, right? We've got all these different formats now. I should probably look at clearing out the new lines above. Yeah. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Either tomorrow, probably not. Definitely Monday. Bye.